Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going to sort of peel back the layers, the curtain, however you want to describe it, and give you a view of what it's like when you work with an interior designer and how they present their ideas to you based on what your goals are, what your specifications are, what you're looking to achieve within your living space. I've never seen somebody do this, so I'm kind of excited to see what this looks like. She's the woman behind Livable Luxury, works with all types of different people in all different areas. She's based in the New York City area or in the metro area, but she goes widely around there. We'll go anywhere depending on the job. She's Nicole Fisher. She's back with us. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, good to have you here. And we've talked a lot about different projects. We've looked at your portfolio. We even, last time we got together, talked about, I think they call it Market, which is like the biggest furniture convention on the planet you were at, and saw the latest and the greatest presentation. So let's just say that I came to you. I'm looking to do an extension on my home, or I'm just looking to change it up, or I'm looking to move in or build. Take me through that process. How does that work? And then get us to the point where you take all those ideas, you work with your team, and then comes a presentation.
Yeah. So we do an introduction discovery call. Our designated project manager, who's going to work on your project specifically, gets all that information from you, really tries to fine tune exactly what that scope is going to be, set up kind of realistic expectations from what we're able to do, what something like this would cost you, not only on a construction basis, but cost you from a design perspective. We love to talk to clients and say, hey, look at our portfolio. Which project do you love? What are you drawn to? And then kind of work backwards, like, this is what it took to get there. This is how much money it took to get there. So, really try to set up those expectations. Once we have that client signed on, they're super excited. We do an initial inspiration mood board presentation for them. And that just is a couple visuals, very Pinterest heavy, very dedicated to, magazines and fully finished rooms, that just to get you excited and to get those like creative juices flowing. Once we have that, our team does a full round of sourcing. So we are pulling from all over. We're pulling textiles, we're pulling wood finishes, metal finishes, everything, and putting it together in this incredible presentation that is just supposed to knock your socks off when you walk in the door. And that presentation is complete with full mood boards, full renderings that are done 3D, and there are all of your samples. Everything is laid out by space, and you could really start to get a full feel on visually and texturally what it's going to look like in the end.
Has this happened before where client tells you what they're looking for? You work on it. Maybe you have some, I call them vision boards because I got one right up there. What do you call it again?
A mood board.
Mood board. Thanks. So you've gotten, where you going, you're getting sort of in a zone, you show it to them and they're like, yeah, I like that, but maybe not. So then now you work, essentially what I'm saying is, do you work more and more to get in the zone? Takes you maybe a couple of mood boards to see what they're vibing with, what they're feeling, till you get to that sweet spot. Okay, that's what you're thinking. That's what you're feeling.
So I love these inspiration things to not be taken literal. They should just be, even if you like one piece of this, even if you just like the paint color in that room. I hate the furniture, but I just love the vibe. I love that light fixture, but I hate the furniture. Just anything for me and my team to kind of understand how your brain works. There should be nothing that you see that you're like 100% I want that, because we are not going to, just recreate what you see. We're going to do something totally different. So this is really just meant to be a little sprinkling of an inspiration so that we just start to understand you and what you gravitate toward.
And I can imagine too, that if somebody looks at your portfolio and says, that project you did in the Hamptons, that one right there, that's it. That's what I want. I see that room. I see blah, 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 blah. That's all good, but that's not their living space.
Yeah.
That place in the Hamptons is completely different. So
Right.
I would think that somebody needs to realize that just because you see it in the picture doesn't mean necessarily it will look that way. The lighting is different. The space, it's not the same spot in the Hamptons on your
Yeah.
portfolio, right?
Totally. So we say, what do you love about it? Tell me
Yeah.
what you like about it. And sometimes if they're like, well, I love everything, and I'll say, what do you not like about it? What is that one thing that we can, and then we kind of work backwards and start to pick apart little things. And sometimes it's really just one thing, one element that just makes them feel, or if it's just a done space. Some people have no idea what they want, but they're just like, that's a pretty room. That's an objectively pretty room. So like, that's, kind of where I'm trying to go.
I'm sure many times you've heard, I know what I don't want.
Yes.
I don't want orange. I don't want tropical. I don't want this. I don't want that.
Right.
So I guess process of elimination at that point.
Absolutely. It could be a very valuable tool to just know what really you hate so that we just completely avoid it and then know not to go there. Because if we have any element of that, that's exactly where your eye is going to go and your brain is going to go, and you're not going to pay attention to the rest.
So scale of 1 to 10, 10 being everybody doesn't know what they want when they come to you. They're just they don't know, and you walk them through, and you kind of figure it out with them. Now I'm going radical. 10, nobody knows what they want.
Yeah.
Where do you think the 1 to 10 scale sits?
I would say an 8. Most people don't know. They know a little bit. They know a little bit. And that's why knowing what they don't like gives me that 20% that I need to like get there.
Gotcha. Okay. And what the small percentage of those who know what they want have probably seen it someplace before. They've been thinking about it, or they've done it before in another home, but they want to recreate it. Like I like blues and greens. That's where I ride. I like tropical. I really do. So that's but that's not to say I'm stuck on that. You could say, Steve, let's look at this. And I could say, oh my gosh, I never even thought of that. Wow. I didn't think I liked black and white. There you go. It's great. It's fantastic.
Absolutely. It's our job to interpret just everything. It's our job to take what you are inspired by in even the smallest form and create something brand new out of it. But it's very much a process, and it's our job to infer what you mean when you say, I like this. And then I have to say why and kind of pick it apart and understand what that means.
So you're going to show us a mood board today, I think, right?
Yes.
So I just thought of this. I'm going to pretend I'm a client.
Okay.
And I'm going to honestly tell you what I like about the mood board. Now, this is not tailored to me. This is, you're randomly throwing something out there. So I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to kind of troll through it, and I'm going to honestly say, I really like that. Maybe I don't like that. Maybe I'll love the entire thing. Who knows?
You never know. Okay. I'm going to share it with you.
If I like the entire thing, you are psychic. It's like serious. Because you would never know.
You would never know. Okay. So here is a mood board for a recent presentation. This is a client that is moving into an extremely beautiful historic home. The home is about 200 years old. It's very grand. It is a brick facade, central colonial. It is a very traditional feeling home. Hasn't been touched in a while. And the family has 3 children. And we are modernizing the home to a point where it is completely functional, livable, and amazing for their current lifestyle, but also still pays some homage to the traditional component of the home and the architecture of the space in general. So this is a kitchen. And what we have presented here and what we are leaning into is these really beautiful marbles, metals, mixing the metals, and allowing the space to feel not too new, but again, that it's always been there and very particular and special to this type of architecture.
So before I form any opinions on this, I'm going to ask some questions.
Sure.
And I'm not sure how the mood board works, so I'm going to double check here. in back of the cabinet handles, the knobs, the faucets, that section there is a color. Would that be your suggestion for the wall color?
It's the cabinet color.
It's the cabinet color.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. If that's the cabinet color, what's in the right-hand corner that sort of looks like a cabinet with marble?
So this is what we're doing with marble to the island. We are creating and almost recreating what the cabinets are going to look like, but in stone.
For everybody that can't see this, that swatch of color, it's sort of I want to, on my screen, sort of a putty kind of, just like a light gray, off-white, putty-ish kind of color. That's my best description. I'm trying to visualize that as a cabinet. I'm kind of fascinated how that could be a cabinet, cabinet color. Wow.
Absolutely. I love these non-traditional colors for cabinets. You kind of see these white kitchens everywhere.
Ugh.
This actually has a little hint of green in it, which is amazing. And the color is called Paris Rain. And what I love about it really changes based on light. And some of these colors that have so much depth in them, depending on the time of day and how much light the room is getting, they really transition a bit. So sometimes you're going to get more of a green feel to it versus, more of a putty or an ivory feel, but it's always going to feel like this, really warm, rich color. And that's like the point of what we're trying to do.
It really is rich for a color that's really not a vibrant color, but there's a huge element of richness to it. And now I see the green thing going on, because if I look at it to the side, and again, it's on screen, it's on a Zoom that we're looking here, you're not going to get the true representation. My monitor calibration could be off from yours, whatever. The chair that's next to it, there's no doubt there's a green tone in the fabric, right?
Correct.
And that chair, is that a chair that would go among others around the island?
Correct.
I'm still stuck in the cabinet and the color. Are we painting the cabinet? Like, what's going on here?
We are painting the cabinets. Yes.
Existing cabinets?
No, we're starting from scratch here.
Wow.
So if we're doing a presentation, you're not only seeing this, you're also seeing what that door style is looking like. You're seeing how that elevation sits along each of the walls, so you understand how visually you're going to, see where your cabinets are being laid out. And then you're also getting fabrics, you're getting metal swatches, you're getting all of these elements so you can start to really pull these things together. So there's only so much that a flat piece of paper can do for you, especially on a screen. So we like to, make these 3D things come to life and have as many materials for you to see and touch as possible.
Center of the mood board, there is something hanging. It almost looks like a medieval disco ball. Best description. Is that a light? What's going on?
It's a light. They're pendants. I love these. And what we plan on doing in this kitchen, again, to make it feel a little bit more layered over time, is this mixed metal idea. So mixing this brass and silver together. We have this light that I love already did this for us. So we have this burnished brass going on here. And then in the middle, we have this mercury glass is what it's called. And it gives this mirror effect. And it has a very, very glamorous feeling to it when it's off and when it's on.
So to the right of that, it's sort of like a bronzy kind of color. Is that would that be like the hood of the stove?
That is.
Wow.
Look at you.
Look at me. And I don't cook. I think I impressed myself.
Neither do I.
Okay. But we love kitchens. We love good-looking kitchens.
Mm-hmm.
To the left, all the way in the corner, very, very, gold. I don't want to say bronze. I'm trying to think of the terminology for that metal color. What is that?
That actually is a bronze. A burnished brass is the
Okay, now I get it.
the
Brass. Thank
yeah
you. Yeah, but it's not like bam, bright brass. It's
yeah.
but it's not like an oiled rubbed bronze like you might say the stove hood is. What's your vision for that brassy kind of color?
So are we talking all the way to the left or all the way to the right?
All the way to the left.
Okay, so that's the sink. And these,
Okay.
yeah,
Looking down from the top. Okay, now I got
looking
it.
down from the top. Yep. So
Ooh.
now we'll have this beautiful marble surround and then this like pop of metal underneath.
Wow. Very creative, spectacular. And you said it before, and I'm going to repeat it because now I'm getting it. The 2D feel of this does not do it justice because thinking of that as the sink, holy blank, man, that is really, now it's all coming together, and that's radical, but in a cool way. The I'm guessing that's wallpaper with these bunch of flowers. They kind of look like wildflowers. Is that, am I getting that right?
It's actually fabric. And that is going to be on the window treatments.
Okay. All right. I'm going to be honest with you. Here we go. I held back everything, so I haven't said word. I'm feeling better about it because initially I thought it might have been wallpaper, and I'm like, that's just a little too much for the walls. But the window treatment, I could see that. And in my memory, I'm seeing I did something like that, like way back. I mean, I'm talking maybe like 3 houses back. It had more of a, I don't want to call it a country feel, but just a more just earthy kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, I think the flowers and a little bit of this chintz vibe just adds to the traditional element of the house and kind of what we're due. Because if I took that out, everything would feel pretty modern or contemporary. But we have this really traditional home, right? So we need one, even if it's small, one element that kind of brings it down a notch a bit.
What I believe it's doing is grounding the design. And anything where you bring in florals or anything from the ground grounds it. And I agree with you 100%. If that fabric wasn't there with flowers, some pops of color, not crazy, they're somewhat muted. They're kind of in the same tonal family. It would be a little, I mean this not in a bad way, a little cold. This adds a little warmth to it.
Absolutely.
I honestly like it a lot. My jury is still out on the medieval disco ball. I'm not saying I don't like it. I would need to see it again in other pictures. Maybe in use. Is that the only one, or would there be a number of them?
We're going to have 3 of them.
Okay. All right. That honestly, that's even better because now, it feels like a theme going, but all the metal ties together, all the marble ties together, the colors, really, really nice. And honestly saying this, the fixtures, the cabinet handles, the marble, I like it. I do. Yeah. And the cabinet, I can't even imagine that's a cabinet with that color. That's crazy.
I know.
Wow.
It's going to be a showstopper.
Yeah. And especially when you add the marble. And I like how in the mood board, you put the marble right next to it because that's the way it's going to be.
Absolutely.
The island, will that have any duplication of the cabinets?
Yeah. So the idea is on one side is going to be the color of the perimeter cabinets. And then on the other side, what you're seeing on the bottom right corner is how the island is going to finish. So when you walk in the room, it's going to look like one gigantic piece of stone, but really it's just surrounding these cabinets to give the illusion of a massive piece of stone.
And that's where my mind is going. Like, how are you going to do that in that big piece of stone? But you're really not.
No.
Interesting. Final question on this. All the way to the right, upper right-hand corner, you have it's like a wall lamp.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So we have two sconces going on either side of the sink. And these are vintage. And what's cool about these is that they're already patinaed and distressed a bit. So it really just ties in with the pendants, the hood, everything that has that little bit of wear to it, and giving this space, some age.
When you say the sconce is vintage, is it really vintage or made to look vintage?
No, it's really vintage. It's coming from Italy.
That is just crazy. Wow. I'm stuck on the sink.
I think that's your favorite part.
I'm trying to visualize that. And it's funny when I first looked at it, because it's looking down and that's the drain we're seeing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Initially, that almost looked like a cabinet and that was the handle.
Oh, okay.
So I was like trying to put that together because you see a border around it like it might be a cabinet, but no, that's the sides of the sink, but we're seeing it from the top. So you only see a little bit. It would be much larger looking down. Never have ever seen a sink even close to that. Very unique. Wow. Gotta tell you, Nicole, this has been fun. I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, this is the fastest podcast I've ever done. Like, I'm looking up like, we're only halfway in here. Amazing. Tell me about this project. Has it been deployed? Has it been presented? What's the status?
So we just presented this week. We kind of, for a house this size, it's about 7,000 square feet. We break it into two pieces because it's just too much to do in one sitting. So we did our phase one this week, and client was super happy. And then in a couple months, we'll do phase two as we gather the second part of the design.
What have they said so far about that mood board and the other ones that you recently presented?
I was a little nervous about this one. I'm very confident when I do, but sometimes when the clients don't give you a ton to go off of, you have to interpret it a lot more. Yep. So
because you got to be psychic.
you have to be psychic. Yeah. So this presentation had a lot riding on it, and like they just loved everything. I think we just totally knocked it out of the park. They were so blown away, and I think what helps is seeing these renderings, these materials, everything. Because if you just look at a piece of paper, you look at these things, flat, you don't get it. It doesn't read. And if you did get it, you probably wouldn't have to hire me. But, being able to see these things in, real time makes such a difference, and is, how we get them to say yes.
And it's how they work together, because the rest of us, I would never know, let me put this here. Oh, you know what? Let's paint the cabinet sort of like a putty with a, green tone to it. Never, ever. And that's why most living spaces are kind of boring, because we write on the safe and this matches that. There's so much more going out there, that we don't even think of, because we don't have the eye for it. Amazing. How do we find you?
You can find our website, bnrinteriors.com, where you can see some of our work, and Instagram at bnrinteriors.
You truly make it fun and exciting.
I'm so happy.
You really do. I want to be on your team. I want to be behind the scenes and just, look at how this is all put together and where the inspiration comes and everything. This was super cool. Thank you for today, and looking forward next time we get together.
Absolutely. See you soon.
Thanks. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn those earrings today. I like those earrings. Gabby has those awesome earrings. I need to ask her where she got those, but that's just what she would want me to do. I'll have Michaela ask her for me.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Yeah, but then Michaela will be like, why don't you just ask her yourself? That's just like Michaela.
Sarah, buckle up.
Michaela's such a great name. I wish I was called Michaela. There's like a dozen Sarahs in my class.
Hey, we're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I forget sometimes because my brain is like busy, wonder if there's pizza at school today.
Sometimes it can be tough to get through to your kids, but it's not impossible. Always make sure they're wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Remember, you have the keys, you have the power. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.